He forgot my birthday for the third year in a row. That night, I found a box in his trunk, lingerie, perfume, and a card that said, "To my real girl." When I asked who it was for, he said, "You've let yourself go. You knew this was coming." I didn't argue. But I did call someone who owed me a favor. What we set in motion changed everything that weekend. I'm 38, and I've been with Rick for almost 8 years. We live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in a small rental house off Silas Creek Parkway. I work in customer service for a local utilities company. Rick works in finance. I used to think we had something solid. I thought I was lucky. I haven't been lucky in a long time. For the third year in a row, Rick forgot my birthday. Not just forgot, he didn't even look me in the eye that morning. He walked past me in the kitchen, grabbed his travel mug, and said, "I'll be home late." That was it. The first year, he claimed he had a work emergency. I believed him. The second year, he blamed it on stress. I cried in the bathroom and told myself next year would be better. This year? He didn't say a word. I didn't remind him. I wanted to see if he'd remember on his own. I waited all day, thinking maybe I'd come home to flowers or a note or even a cheap card. I would have taken a grocery store cupcake. But nothing. Around 9 p.m., he told me he was heading out to grab a few things. No kiss. No smile. No, "Hey, wanna come with me?" He left. I stood at the front window and watched his car disappear into the dark. I sat there on the couch with the TV on low. I stared at the clock. 10 minutes later, something inside me just snapped. Not loud. Not messy. Just final. I grabbed the spare key from the drawer and went out to the garage. I opened the trunk of his car. I had never gone through his car before. I always gave him space. Always respected his privacy. That night, I felt like a fool for doing that. There was a black box, carefully placed under a jacket. Neat. Tucked in like it was precious. I pulled it out. Inside was red lace lingerie, classy, expensive looking. A bottle of perfume. Not my brand. And a small envelope. I opened it without thinking. "To my real girl," it said. "You bring light back into my life. Can't wait to see you this weekend. Love, R." I just stood there in the garage with the trunk open, holding the box, reading that note over and over. My heart didn't even race. It was quiet. Empty. When he came back, I was sitting at the kitchen table with the box right in front of me. He walked in like nothing was wrong, holding a bag from the gas station. He froze when he saw me. His eyes went to the box. Then to my face. Then back to the box. "You going through my car now?" he asked. I didn't say a word. He sighed. He didn't look shocked. Or sorry. Just tired. Like I was the one causing the problem. "You've let yourself go," he said. "You knew this was coming." I don't know what I expected him to say. I didn't think he'd grovel or cry. But I didn't expect that. He didn't look ashamed. He looked annoyed. I stood up, picked up the box, and walked past him to the bedroom. I locked the door. And then I called someone who owed me. Her name's Tasha. She's a paralegal in Charlotte now, but back in high school, she was a storm. She used to run with a group that knew how to cause real trouble. We hadn't talked much in a few years, but we'd stayed in touch on birthdays and holidays. When she got into some legal trouble a few years back, I helped her. Got her a place to stay, lent her money for a lawyer. She told me, "Anything you ever need, you call me." So I did. She answered on the second ring. "Erica, I need that favor." Long pause. What happened? I told her everything. Not just about the box, but about the last few years. How he talked to me, How he stopped seeing me. She didn't ask questions. Just said, "I'll be there in the morning." Rick left early the next day. Said he was going to a guy's weekend. I smiled and told him to have fun. He had no idea I knew. Tasha arrived just before noon, driving a rental. She hugged me like she already knew what kind of fire we were going to light. We sat at my kitchen table and planned. She had a legal pad and 2 phones. She pulled up background check software and started digging. By that evening, we had her name, Sierra. 27 years old. Worked at a spa in Greensboro. Posted on social media constantly. We found her Instagram. Picture after picture. Sunset dinners. Coffee dates. One photo from a beach trip showed Rick's tiger tattoo on his wrist. She'd captioned it, "My favorite person, red heart." It made me sick. We looked deeper. Found out she lived above a bakery. Drove a white Honda. She posted about weekend getaways and spa gift cards Rick bought her. He told her he was single. Divorced, apparently. We gathered everything, screenshots, photos, even a video clip from her story where his voice could be heard in the background. Then we got serious. We created a fake wedding website using their names. Used a template from one of those registry sites. We made it look real, photoshopped their faces onto a happy couple. Added a story about how they met during a difficult time and found peace in each other. We sent the site to her work email with a fake message from Rick's account. Surprise. I know you've been patient. It's finally happening. I wanted you to see this first. Ring. It took less than an hour. We sat outside her apartment and waited. We saw her open her phone. Saw the light in her window. Then the screaming started. Not angry. Hurt. Loud, guttural crying. 15 minutes later, she stormed out with her phone and keys. She peeled out of the parking lot. Tasha looked at me. Time for the next step. We followed her to a lake house just outside Winston-Salem. Rick's friend owned it. That's where he said he was retreating. She didn't knock. She walked right in. We waited. 10 minutes later, we walked in behind her. The house was open. A few guys playing cards. Some drinks out on the counter. Rick was on the couch, looking like he'd seen a ghost. Sierra was standing there, holding her phone, sobbing. I walked right up and dropped the black box on the floor in front of him. "You gave this to the wrong woman," I said. He stood up, mouth open. "I don't, Erica, this is crazy," I cut him off. "Don't. Just stop." Sierra looked at him like he was poison. "You said you were divorced." I was going to," I turned to her. "I'm not his wife. But I gave him 8 years. Paid his rent. Took care of his mom when she got sick. And he forgot my birthday 3 times in a row." I handed her a folder. "Everything you need is in there. Do what you want with it." Then I walked out with Tasha. That weekend didn't end at the lake house. It was just the start. Sierra didn't leave after we walked out. She stayed. According to Tasha's contact, someone who worked at the spa with Sierra, she stayed for over an hour. Rick begged her to keep this between them. Told her I was crazy, bitter, and manipulative. Said I faked everything. He didn't know Sierra had already called her cousin. Her cousin was a cop. Not the kind that looks the other way. Turns out, Rick had done more than cheat. He had been helping Sierra with some tax paperwork. He told her it was part of his job. She gave him access to her accounts. Trusted him. She shouldn't have. Rick had moved a few hundred from her account into his own. Told her it was a test transaction for direct deposit setup. It wasn't. That alone was enough to get serious attention. Sierra's cousin told her to file a report. She did. Monday morning. But that's not all. I didn't know this when we walked out of that house, but Rick had also been gambling. Tasha found records through a shared bank account I'd forgotten we had. There were wire transfers, small at first, then larger. Then credit card advances. Then charges from places I didn't recognize, offshore poker sites and some membership services. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the printouts Tasha handed me. You didn't know about this? She asked. No, he might have used your info. I called the bank. I called the credit bureau. I pulled my credit report. He had. There was a credit card I never opened. Sitting in my name. Maxed out. I felt sick. Violated. Used. I want everything, I said to Tasha. Everything we can dig up. I want him to feel what I felt. Not just from me, but from the world. I want it all exposed. By Tuesday, I had an entire binder full of documentation. Tasha put it together like she was preparing for a court case. We had screenshots of Rick's messages with Sierra and another woman we found in his DMs, the fake card and lingerie box photos, credit reports showing cards opened in my name, transfers from Sierra's account to his emails where he claimed to be someone he wasn't, pretending to be a licensed accountant when he wasn't. Tasha knew a guy in HR at Rick's job. He owed her. We sent everything to him. Anonymous package. It landed on his desk Wednesday morning. By 4 p.m., Rick was fired. But it didn't stop there. Sierra filed a police report. The bank flagged his account. And I froze my credit, reported fraud, and started a civil claim. Rick came home that night like a bomb had gone off. He stormed in, screaming. Red in the face. Threw his keys across the room. What the hell did you do? I sat at the table, calm. I just told the truth. You're ruining my life. You already ruined mine. He stepped toward me. Too close. But I didn't flinch. I looked him right in the eye and said, you do one thing, to scare me, and I'll call the cops. Sierra's cousin already has your name on record. Try me. He backed off. Threw some clothes into a bag. Left. Slammed the door. I changed the locks the next day. But here's the twist no one saw coming. Rick didn't just disappear. He fought back. 3 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. He was suing me. Claiming I damaged his reputation, caused emotional distress, and that I illegally accessed his personal belongings. He wanted $10,000. I sat there with the letter in my lap, hands shaking. I laughed. Out loud. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. Tasha looked at the letter, rolled her eyes, and said, let him try. We filed a countersuit. For identity theft. Fraud. Emotional distress. Harassment. Financial abuse. My lawyer said, this might get ugly. I said, it already is. Then came the final blow I wasn't ready for. I got a call from a woman I didn't know. Are you Erica? Yes. I think I'm pregnant with Rick's baby. Her name was Rachel. 25. Met Rick at a poker night a year ago. He told her he was divorced with no kids and looking for something real. I almost dropped the phone. She said she found my number through a card in his car, an old anniversary card I'd written him that he kept in the glove box. She said he was ghosting her. Ignoring calls. Disappeared once the word pregnant came up. I didn't know what to say. I just told her the truth. She cried. Hard. I was in love with him, she said. I thought I mattered. You're not the only one, I said. We stayed on the phone for over an hour. At the end, she asked me what she should do. I said, tell your story. Don't let him disappear. Let people know. She posted everything, texts, pictures, pregnancy test photos. Tagged him. It went viral in our town within a day. Everyone knew. His sister. His old friends. Even his boss from a previous job who commented, "This doesn't surprise me." I wasn't done yet. But now it wasn't just me fighting him. It was Sierra. Rachel. Even some of his old coworkers who came forward to say he'd borrowed money and never paid it back. This man thought he could juggle lies forever. But the walls were closing in. And I was the one pushing them. It had been about 5 weeks since I found that box in Rick's trunk. Since then, everything had flipped. He lost his job. He was facing 2 legal complaints, one from me, one from Sierra. And now Rachel was publicly dragging his name through the mud. She didn't hold back. She posted screenshots of him telling her he loved her, that they were building a future, and even one where he asked her to delete everything if it ever got messy. Too late for that. What shocked me most was how many other women came forward. One by one, in the comments under Rachel's post, I saw them. I thought I was the only one. He told me he was working late. We dated for 7 months. I met him on Hinge. He said he was a widower. A widower. I stared at that comment for a long time. He told someone I was dead. And here I was, alive and watching him get destroyed, piece by piece, by the mess he created. But that's not even the twist. About a week after the social media mess blew up, Rick's sister showed up at my job. Unannounced. She looked tired. Hair in a messy bun. No makeup. She stood at the front desk and asked to speak to me. I stepped out and took her to the side lot. "Listen," she said. "I know we haven't always been close. I stayed out of you and Rick's stuff. But I need to tell you something." I waited. She pulled out a folded paper. It was a letter. "My mom found this," she said. It was addressed to Rick but unopened. It came from New York. Some law firm. I opened it. It was a notice from an attorney in Brooklyn. Apparently, Rick had co-signed a lease last year for a woman named Heather. She'd since been evicted, and now the landlord was suing Rick for the balance. Over $14,000. I blinked. Who the hell is Heather? Rick's sister shook her head. No idea. But this isn't the only one. He took out a loan in my dad's name last year. We didn't know until the collector started calling the house. So it wasn't just women. It was everyone around him. He used whoever trusted him. Family, girlfriends, friends of friends. "I don't know what's wrong with him," she said, crying. "I just wanted you to see this." I took the letter and thanked her. She walked away without looking back. I stood there in the side lot behind my work, holding this envelope, and realized something big. Rick wasn't just a cheater. He was a scammer. A manipulator. He wasn't just selfish, he was dangerous. I met with my lawyer the next day. "Do you want to pursue criminal charges?" she asked. "If I don't, he'll just keep doing this," I said. We added the new evidence to my civil suit and forwarded it to the DA. And then, like a second wave crashing in, the hits kept coming. Sierra messaged me. Rick had tried to contact her again. He showed up at her job. Begging. Crying. Saying everyone turned on him, and he needed help. She told her boss. He was escorted out by security. Rachel messaged me too. He texted her a picture of an ultrasound. Not hers, just one from Google. Told her he was going to fake a miscarriage so she'd take him back. She sent it to me. It had a watermark from a website that sells stock photos. I felt sick again. Not for myself, but for how far he was willing to go to keep up his lies. Tasha looked at me and said, "He's unraveling. He needs to go down," I said. And she smiled. "Then let's finish this." We gathered every message. Every screenshot. Bank records. The fake ultrasound. The lease from New York. A statement from his sister. Even the identity theft report from the credit bureau. Tasha contacted someone she knew at the Winston-Salem Journal, a local reporter who had covered financial scams before. She didn't name him, but she gave the whole story anonymously. The journalist ran with it. A week later, the paper ran an article, "Local man accused of scamming women and family members. Multiple legal actions pending." People knew it was Rick. The photo they used didn't show his face, but everyone who had seen Rachel's post, or Sierra's, or the comments from other women, already knew. He couldn't hide. And then came the biggest twist of all. I got a call from an older woman, Barbara. She said she was Rick's ex-fiancée. From over 10 years ago. She lived in Tennessee now. He did the same thing to me, she said. Took out loans in my name. Cheated. Left me with nothing. I was too ashamed to press charges. I just wanted to forget. She offered to testify if it helped. That sealed it. My lawyer turned the entire case into a coordinated effort. With the evidence from Barbara, the civil suit got upgraded to a fraud investigation. The DA opened a criminal case. Rick was officially being investigated by the state. He tried to run. He left town, abandoned his rental, left clothes and mail behind. He deleted all his social media. Shut off his phone. But it was too late. They found him 2 weeks later, hiding out in South Carolina with a cousin. He was arrested and brought back to North Carolina in handcuffs. They brought Rick back to Winston-Salem in cuffs, wearing the same hoodie I bought him last Christmas, the one he never thanked me for. I didn't go to the arraignment, but I watched the news clip. He looked thinner. Tired. He didn't make eye contact with the camera. He got hit with 6 charges. Identity theft, fraudulent use of financial documents, unauthorized access to bank accounts, lying about professional qualifications, harassment, obstruction. Each one came with real jail time. The DA offered him a plea deal, but he didn't take it. His lawyer tried to spin the story, claimed I was a bitter ex, that Sierra and Rachel were just confused, and that Rick was under pressure and made poor choices. They forgot something important. We had receipts. All of us. The courtroom was packed on the first day of trial. Sierra sat on one side. Rachel on the other. Even Barbara drove in from Tennessee. Rick's own sister sat quietly in the back row, arms crossed, eyes down. I was called to testify second. I told the court everything. From the forgotten birthdays to the fake ultrasound. I handed over screenshots. Credit card statements. That stupid card that said, "To my real girl." Rick wouldn't look at me once. Then Sierra took the stand. She didn't cry. She looked straight at the jury and said, "He made me believe I was the only one. While stealing from my bank account." Then Rachel spoke. She shook a little, but her voice was clear. "I thought I was going to raise a child with him. He told me he wanted a family. He knew it was fake when he sent that ultrasound. He didn't care." Barbara, last. Calm. Firm. "This man has been lying for over a decade. And I kept quiet because I was embarrassed. But I see now. Keeping quiet only let him do it again." It took 3 days for the jury to come back. Guilty. On all 6 charges. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for the first 5. That would have been enough for most people. But not for me. I had one more thing planned. Rick had no idea that while he was sitting in jail, I'd filed a civil suit for damages, emotional distress, identity theft, defamation, and financial loss. Tasha helped me push it through fast. We won. The judge granted me $67,000 in damages. Plus, Rick had to pay court costs and attorney fees. He didn't have it. But here's the twist, Rick's cousin, the one who hit him. He owned a business. Rick had signed over his old car and a small piece of land to him to keep it safe. Turns out that land had value. My lawyer filed a lien. The court approved it. That property? Now mine. I sold it. Paid off the credit card debt he left in my name. Used the rest as a down payment on a little house just outside Winston-Salem. Quiet street. Big trees. A porch I sit on every Sunday morning with coffee and silence. Sierra opened her own skincare shop. She called it Second Skin. She says it's a new start. Rachel had a healthy baby girl and went back to school. Barbara? She started an online support group for women who've been conned by partners. We still talk. The four of us. We check in. Celebrate little wins. Share recipes. Remind each other we aren't dumb, we were trusting. Rick writes letters from prison. I got 3. I never opened them. Just dropped them in the trash. One of them came with a birthday card. I laughed when I saw it. The first one he ever gave me. Too late. Sometimes people ask me why I didn't fight him that night. Why I didn't scream. Throw the box. Hit him with a frying pan. I tell them this, fury fades. But truth? Proof? A plan? That kind of revenge lasts. And when it lands hard. I didn't just take him down. I buried him in the grave he dug for himself. Slowly. Quietly. And I never looked back.